All right, guys, so I just got off of Instagram. I said 6 words for the Ford versus Ferrari movie. I got these 2 movie posters here. I'm gonna put one up in my office. I'm gonna put one in my place. 6 words. Best fucking movie of the year. Yes. I love Marvel. I said that in my Instagram. Endgame was amazing. But you know what? I'm a car guy at heart, and I'm a Ford owner still, even after I got a car sitting in storage for 20 years, and it brought back every feeling that I've had since I was 16 years old and I had my first Ford Maverick / Mercury Comet. I will tell you what, this movie by far was the best, the most enjoyable, and the most amazing movie of the year. And I dare to say that I've seen in the last decade. When it comes to Matt Damon's portrayal of Carroll Shelby, and having seen Carroll Shelby, you know, when he was alive, I could say that this movie with Matt Damon being Carroll Shelby is probably the most accurate rendition that you'll ever see. Matt Damon was stupendous. Matt Damon reminds you exactly why he's one of Hollywood's best actors, and if not one of the most underrated actors, I feel. I could sense Carroll's persona, his character, his mannerisms, straight down to even his gum chewing. Matt Damon hit the nail on the head without a doubt. This movie was absolutely amazing. It captured all the key elements of the historic story of Ford sticking it to Ferrari. Now I'm going to talk about Ken Miles and Christian Bale. Christian Bale is renowned for his method acting, okay? Renowned. He immerses himself in the character. He is a Hollywood A-lister, and I will tell you, hitting Ken Miles' character and persona, just like Matt Damon. These 2 actors were phenomenal in this movie. You could feel the camaraderie, the friendship, the animosity towards some of the other people that presented challenges for Carroll Shelby and Ken Miles. You could feel the heartbreak. And I'm not going to tell you what part of the movie, but if you know Ford history, if you know the history of Le Mans, and you know Ken Miles' story of what he did on that track, this movie really makes you feel exactly how Ken must have felt at Le Mans, not to mention prior to Le Mans. This movie was absolutely, without a doubt, one of the best. And I'm pulling a Christopher Walken here where you stop and pause because there's no words to describe this movie and how it made me feel. If you're a gearhead, if you're a Ford fan, and you haven't seen this movie on opening night, and you don't see it tomorrow, you might want to question your loyalty to your product, to Ford. You might question the fact that you may or may not be a gearhead, because I'll tell you what, if you don't see this movie, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to say you might not be as much of a gearhead as you might think you are. Not to mention, if you're a Ford fan, a fan of their products, a fan of the Mustang, of their V8s, the Coyote engine, the new Ford GT that came out, you better see this movie. Boy, I tell you, if I had the time right now, and the resources. I got a Ford GT. I'm not going to say what model, but it's just sitting in a storage right now. It's been sitting there for almost 20 years. Let me think, what are we in 2019? 17 years the car's been sitting. And I feel real bad about it. But seeing this movie tonight brought me back to every feeling I've ever had with that car. All my friends that shared the experience in that car with me. My friends Danielle, who's no longer with us. My friend Josh, my friend Vince. My friend Alan. It's why I keep the car in storage and why I don't want to let it go. Ford versus Ferrari, one of the most historic automotive stories of all time. A story of triumph, a story of heartache, a story of challenges, where two men beat the odds, and a story of friendship. A friendship that is, yeah, of course, historic and everybody knows about it. But when you see this movie, and if you know about history, you can feel that friendship between these two actors. And that's rare. That is incredibly rare. When two actors can actually not only get the characters right, not only get the feelings right, the personas, the mannerisms, and all that stuff, if they can translate a friendship like the one between Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby 50, 60 years later, if they can transmit that to you in the audience to where you can feel the friendship and you feel the loss at the end of the movie, and it pulls at your heartstrings, right? And it pulls at who you are as a car guy, because you understand what they went through, or have a grasp, but just a small fraction of the understanding of what they endured, not to mention the genius of the mechanical driving ability, as well as the building of the car, the engineering of the car itself, the monumental undertaking that both of them, Carroll Shelby, his team, as well as Ken Miles, were facing. That's a story about American heroics at its best, right there. As a car guy, you'll understand this. I'm telling you, if you are a Ford fan or a gearhead of any kind, you need to see this movie. If you don't, you're gonna miss out. I'm not kidding, guys. I'm not talking shit here. I'm trying to be as real as fucking possible, okay? This movie is the best movie I have seen in a decade. In a decade, okay? I think the last movie that made me feel good about being a car guy, and I'm not talking Fast and the Furious. Don't get me wrong, I love Fast and the Furious. But I grew up in America. I grew up around muscle cars in Detroit. I had muscle cars. I built muscle cars. My first 4 years in the military at the 82nd Airborne Garage at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, I rolled a car in there that was $600. By the time it was done, I turned it around back in the early 2000s and had a car that was worth $45,000 back then. And I did it on a private salary. Private. I built the car myself. The last movie that made me feel good about muscle cars, about American muscle cars, about American history and American racing and the spirit of America, that die-hard, gritty, kick-ass feeling, especially about the Fords that I have always liked and enjoyed and loved, was Gone in 60 Seconds. And don't get me wrong, I loved Gone in 60 Seconds, but if I had to choose, sorry Nick Cage, you did a great job, but I choose Matt Damon and Christian Bale and for Ford versus Ferrari. I'll tell you guys, this movie, I can't talk enough about it. I can't spill to you the volumes that it makes me feel, the emotions, and even when I'm reflecting about the movie right now, it's hard to convey to you. You got to see it. It's something you're going to see. It's something you're going to feel when you watch the movie. And I have no doubt that when you do, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. That being said, this is George from StreetCulture.US. at the first night of Ford versus Ferrari, saying, see the movie, enjoy it, share it, and who knows, maybe I'll see you on the road.